5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Brian Griffin. We're gonna be in the cave.
Dude, I don't want to keep using Leprechaun.
I love it.
Oh, please don't fizzle. Please don't fizzle. Yes.
Hopefully that should kill.
Alright, welcome back to some more Wiz. We're continuing things off with Brian and Griffin again. I know my armor looks different. I opened up some packs and I got some different armor. So we're going to talk to Shalik the Wise. And yeah, this mount came out of one of those packs. What spells are in my spell deck? Do I have any of the triple blades? No. Okay, so let me talk to Niles real quick. Train. Yes, Spirit Trap. Or Spirit Blade. I'd rather do Spirit... Well, Spirit Trap is good against... is better when I'm helping other people. Which, as a life wizard, I would be doing that a lot. So we'll go to my deck. And then I don't have it, but I can replace one of the life traps with the Spirit Trap because it's about equivalent. And honestly, it's actually better technically because by having the both, I can stack even more. There is like a badge for doing like 1 million damage to an opponent, but the setup required to do that is crazy. But usually you do it to like a super low level monster. And usually you want to do it in a place with a sigil. So you do it to like Rattlebones or something. Because you know you won't be interrupted. You know you can easily heal because you're like level 160. And so Emperor's Retreat, this is a dungeon. And I remember, not PQ, there is a beetle in Emperor's Retreat. I believe it's on the lake. Well, on the shack near the lake. So Prince Suiton, these nuts.
Hope to face a mighty warrior to test my skills.
Skills? What skills, dog? You gonna get reamed. Just will lay down a feint. And good that I did. Because fuck that tower shield. And then I'll use a Super Life Fury on the Froster. Just so I can build up some more pips. I'm gonna put up a Spirit Trap on him. And then next turn hit him with a Seraph. No Super Life Fury. I'm just gonna cast a Minor Blessing. Then I'll hit him with a Seraph next turn, which will not kill. I know this to be true. Alright, so I don't have Seraph. I have another Feint I could stack on, but that's not going to stack. I'm going to heal up just because I didn't see any healing pips out there. Or wisps. I don't know. I can't remember what they're called when they're out on the street like that, but I didn't see any out there. And I want to make sure I'm full health. Okay, Seraph. Very gifted bowler. Come on. Actually, my bowling bag is in the other room, but I do actually enjoy bowling quite heavily. I was on my high school bowling team, JV captain for 2 years. Woo woo. I could go on a whole fucking rant about my senior year of bowling, and I mean a whole ass rant on my senior year of bowling with how mismanaged, and it started with tryout day. I think this was the second or even first year that we were doing cuts. Right, we almost never did cuts for bowling because it wasn't that popular. But now that it was becoming a varsity sport, you can take a varsity sport to get out of your physical education credit. You know, people were doing it because why not? It's bowling, it's fun. You know, pay $200, $250 to bowl for God knows how many games and stuff. Before the tryouts even started, she pulled all the returning players into the alley bar. Like alley bar / restaurant. Got us all in there and told all of us that she would not be cutting any returning players. Fully maxed out teams. 10 and 10 on both. Which you can only have a maximum of 10. Not only, really, you're unlimited in your team size, but in terms of practical. The way it works in bowling is you have a team of 5. 2 on one lane, 3 in another, playing the other 3 and 2. You play 2 games, regular, and then 2 Bakers. And Bakers is where, I might put it up on the screen, but Bakers is where you have 5 people and each of them bowl 2 frames. So you have 1-5, 2-6, 7, 2-6, 3-7, so on. So it's really important who you put at the 5 position because they're at 10. Right, because it could be 1, 6, 2, 7, right. So whoever you put at the 5 position really matters. Whoever you put at the 1 position really matters. And the 2 through 4 is kind of floatery. 3 is the worst. Like, if you're picking which player you want to put in the Baker lineup, the player that you think is going to do the worst, you want to put at 3. Because you don't want to start bad, and you don't want to finish bad. And so if you fuck up in frame 3, or you fuck up in frame 8, you can still kind of come back from it. Whereas you fuck up frame 1, that's bad. You don't want to start in the negative. And you fuck up frame 9 or frame 10, yeah, that's not great. Because you play 2 regular games and 2 Baker. So what you could theoretically do is have your first 5 play the first match, your second 5 play the second match, and then do the same thing with the Bakers. Set up first team is the first Bakers game, second team, right? But that's the maximum you do. 10 players. You wouldn't go beyond that, and even then, you would never actually do 10 full players. Because, let's say you do, somebody gets sick, it doesn't affect you. You still have 4 backups, technically speaking. And she would, actually. She maxed her varsity team at 8. Tryouts go as they go, and then she goes, I'm going to call out, just so I'm not hurting anybody's feelings or anything like that, I'm going to call out names. If your name gets called out, you're on the team. But she lists off 8 names for varsity. She doesn't go beyond 8. I'm like, okay, so what's JV going to be like? She proceeds to, this is including the returning members, so total number of players after cuts, supposedly. She proceeds to put 13 boys on JV. And here's the kicker. She cut 2 of the returning players who actively outscored in the tryouts some of the people that she didn't cut. Not only did she not cut enough people, but she also cut the wrong people that she told she was not going to cut, and the people that she kept in favor of them were objectively worse. Not to mention, one of those 2 that she kept couldn't make grades partway through the season, so was just a not active bowler, but was still told to show up to the matches in support, which is horrible. It's bullshit. Because if they're not making grades, they shouldn't go to the extracurricular activity that's taking up their time. So that was a problem, because with 13, you can't do the 5 and 5 thing. There's going to be some guys that only get to do Baker some nights. If you're cutting people already, it doesn't hurt to cut 3 more. But the season started going, and I was starting to get frustrated, because I felt really bad. As captain, I was the one who decided who bowled what games, who swapped out. And I was really upset having to tell guys, these are people that I bowl with, these are people that are, only a year or 2 younger than me. And I would hate to tell them, just like, yeah, you're only doing Baker today. Like, I would watch everybody during warm-ups, and I would say, it's just like, or, and see how they're doing, or I would just keep track of their, like, previous games and be like, on average, they're not great. That sucked. But then we get past that, we're going into the season, and this had been happening even before my senior season, but because of the whole 13 situation, it frustrated me even more now. It's even more people that you're messing with scheduling-wise. What would happen was, we would get emailed our, match lineup for the next week. Or we would be told what time, what alley, and what teams. Because not all schools had all teams, right? Some schools would only have varsity boys. Some schools would have varsity and JV boys. Some would have varsity boys, varsity girls, but no JV boys. Some would have the whole gambit. So you get told if you were bowling, because theoretically that opposing school had that team that you would play against. And then it happened multiple times where we would get to the match and we would be told they don't have a JV team, your guys aren't bowling. And also because it was like a packed house, they couldn't even get us a lane off to the side to practice at. So not only did we take the time to go out there and get ready for this and everything, and bring our equipment and be prepared to bowl that we paid to do, but also all of our parents who had to get off work at a specific time or rush from work to pick us up to go to the alleys. These are people with professional lives. You can't tell them, sacrifice your job a little bit, and it's not going to mean dick because your kid doesn't get to bowl today. Because I didn't take the 5 minutes it would have taken to call the opposing coach and be like, hey, do you actually have this team or not this year at the start of the season. Be like, hey, do you have a JV boys team? Do you have a JV girls team? Like, what are the teams that you have? And it's not like we played, like, that many schools. We played, like, 15 schools, I want to say. Right, 5 minutes out of your day, one a day, you get done with the schools in 2 weeks' time. Like, it was multiple games. It was, like, 3 or 4 games where we would just be told when we showed up, right, with all of our stuff, our parents taking off time work, all that. Oh, yeah, you're not bowling today. We paid already. We paid at the start of the year our league dues, and you're just like, nah. And then there were some things with, like, who was on varsity and who was on JV and the relative skill levels and technique and no experimenting. Because, like, I bowl two-handed now. Like, I'll sometimes go back to one-handed, just depending on how I'm feeling, depending on how the lane's oiled. But I bowl two-handed now. And in high school, that's my senior year, is when I started experimented bowling two-handed. I never did it in a match because I didn't want to get chewed out. It wasn't that I would have not been able to play or anything like crocodile, snake, tree. I straight up just did not want to get talked to about it. In warm-ups, I would throw a couple just to see how I was feeling. And I would encourage my JV members, who are JV, mind you, their scores literally do not matter. It's just for personal enjoyment. I would tell them just like, hey, see how you're feeling, see if you like it, see if it's something you want to practice. Because depending on somebody's shoulder, if they get pain or stretch, or their back or their core, or how it releases, or how the ball's drilled, the weight, everything like that. There's so many factors that go into a bowling release. See how you're feeling on a two-hand. See if that's something you want to do in the future. See if that's something you want to practice on your own time or practice in warm-ups. Just for like a throw or two. If you feel like it, try it. Because you're in JV. It doesn't matter. You don't got to score 250. If you get over 100, I am happy. Now granted, I wasn't much better. My average score was in the 120s, 130s. My highest score I've ever gotten, which was after high school, was like 206. So I'm not much to say. I do have a pin from that season, though. Seniors, when you graduate, you get your bowling pin, and it's signed by all the other teammates. But I had a good time with it. But it was frustrating having to deal with too many kids on my team. Some not even making grades, which their parents were pissed about that. I was pissed about it. Our coach was pissed about it. They were themselves pissed about it because they couldn't play. That's the thing, you're a student athlete. Student comes first. You got to make sure you make grades if you want to play. Which I know sucks to say to some guys, but it's true. Please, please, please don't fizzle. Yeah, that's what I expected. Yeah, we're going to play Spirit Armor. Arch Mastery. That's what it's called. So I mentioned earlier, like, the whole Black Pip situation. That was in the previous episode. I mentioned that. It's called Arch Mastery. I just realized that. What is he doing? What is he doing? Fizzle. Love to see it. Okay, we'll probably beat Crocotep, and then it'll call for the episode, because we're already at 26 minutes. Granted, for you guys, it's probably only like 5 or 6 minutes in. Although I don't know how much I'll keep of the bowling rant, because that was just non-stop talking for like 10, 15 minutes. Because, God, it's just anguish from that bowling season. You know, it's fucking bowling. You'd think it'd be pretty easy, but in terms of scheduling and getting things right. But I guess compared to other school sports, it is actually a lot harder to coordinate, because bowling alleys, they're places of business. You know, you're not just at a school facility. You're at a public business. So they want to make sure that they're getting paid a fair amount. While at the same time, now granted, they do know that by having the high school teams there, it gets their bowling alleys, gets the business in people's heads, and so they want to go. Or, you know, young bowlers, they want to practice, and they like to practice on certain lanes, or they're like, oh, I have a match coming up, I want to practice on that specific lane a couple days ahead of time. But I think we're about to polish off the Crocosphinx. We'll talk to Alazred. I don't know how to fucking pronounce that, man. Sergeant Major Talbot, which means we're about to go to Marleybone, I'm pretty sure. Get me a man after midnight. No. Get me to Sergeant Major Talbot. Oh, wait, no, we're going. That's right. We're going to the Tomb of Storms. Talk to Head Shaldim. We'll get to the Well of Storms, and then that should be it. Strong. Now, this is the one most annoying thing about the Tomb of Storms is every time you want to go over, you have to light these 3 towers. Every time. It's not just do it once and then you have it forever. right? Like, the mouth will come up and you go through and you go to the portal. But it's every single time you have to light those beetles. It's the most frustrating thing. Like, why? And the game has been out for a long time, so you'd think, you know, let's not do something stupid. Goes to Crocotep, the fucker we just killed. And cool, Onyx family tomb. Alright, so we'll do that next one. Let's go to the big face. Yeah, so that's going to call for this episode. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a good one. That's the end of the episode. There's buttons. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Needle dick. It's the biggest piece of dog shit.